Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It is match day, and we've got a letter from Ruud. We've got updates on Ruben Amorim and quotes coming out from his game after he beat Nacional. I think it was 3-1 last night. We've also got some bits on Erik ten Hag as well that's leaking out, certain players that he wanted, certain players that he didn't want, and a few other little bits coming out from The Athletic and another journalist. So definitely excited to get into that, but we'll kick it off with Ruud's letter, Sam. Because I mean, I don't know if people want to get the tissues out for this. I'm sure Aaron's crying somewhere, but I'll read the first bit of it out and then I'll get your thoughts on it. So, as I'm sure everyone can imagine, I'm writing these notes with a huge amount of mixed emotions. Erik ten Hag has brought me back to Manchester United in the summer, and while I've only been part of the coaching staff here for a few months, I will always be grateful to him for giving me the opportunity, and I'm saddened to see him leave. Even on an interim basis, it's a great honour to manage a club I love for however long I am asked to do so. I can promise that I will continue to give my all in whatever capacity to try and turn around our fortunes. It's weird for Ruud at the moment, isn't it? Because it feels like he's in limbo, Sam.
Yeah. I saw a report from The Athletic saying Ruud van Nistelrooy was a Ten Hag hire, not an Ineos one. And I think we all felt it was an Ineos hire because there was a couple of reports saying it was. So apparently not true. It was a Ten Hag thing. So it feels like if and when Amorim comes in, it seems like Ruud may be out on his ass. So this potentially could just be an audition for his next job, should he choose to have one.
Yeah.
Rather than steady the ship while they wait for a new manager and then become part of the coaching staff. So it's an interesting position that he's been put in. But Michael Carrick's been here before, he's done it. Ryan Giggs has done it. So there's been a couple of people who've done it before. So I think he's experienced the manager enough to know what to do and what not to do. But yeah, he probably feels a bit weird about it, doesn't he? To be honest.
He says, despite our results, I'm loving being back at Old Trafford and working with the team and staff every day. We've seen the squad's potential at times this season, but clearly not often enough. Now is the time for everyone at the club to get together, give everything and turn the season around while we have time. From my experiences as both a player and a coach here, I can say for sure that when players, staff and supporters pull together, Manchester United can be unstoppable. Thankfully, we have time on our side. With fixtures coming so regularly now, we have plenty of opportunities to build up some positive momentum, starting with tonight's visit of Sneeze, Cooper, and Leicester City. He didn't say Sneeze in the Carabao Cup. Do you think Ineos even considered him at all?
Well, apparently, if it's a Ten Hag hire, then probably not, because it's not their guy. So that's probably why they've not considered him. Had they brought him in, like we originally thought, it would probably be, yeah, he's the guy, and he'll replace Ten Hag. Should we? Because clearly they didn't back. Well, they did back Ten Hag, but they clearly were like unsure about him because they didn't do a new contract. He just extended it, and then they brought Ruud van Nistelrooy, and you thought, this is it. This is where they go. Right, he's the backup if we need to get rid of him. But apparently, not the case. Apparently, Ruud's a Ten Hag guy, and they've been talking to Amorim for a couple of weeks at least. Apparently, they spoke to him this summer, but both agreed it wasn't the right time. But they must have kept contact with him because this deal's getting done super quickly. I don't think that happens had you not been in contact with him. So, yeah, it doesn't look like he was ever a consideration if the way we're moving for Amorim is true, and I believe it is true because it's Ornstein and reputable people sort of reporting on it. It just doesn't seem like Ruud was ever an option.
Interesting. I'd love to get everyone else's thoughts who's just joining. Get in the comment section, smash like on the video for us, and subscribe to the channel. Ruud goes on to say at the end of this kind of letter to the fans, saying it'll not be easy, of course. Leicester are Premier League opposition, and they'll also be highly motivated by the prospect of moving into the quarterfinals. However, every game we play is also an opportunity for us to remind everyone, ourselves included, of what this great club stands for. When I returned to the club in the summer as Erik's assistant, it was because I believe that United can climb back to the levels that I knew here as a player. I still have that belief, but it'll take time and a lot of hard work. The first step is to restore the winning habit. Starting at Old Trafford this evening, I know firsthand the positive effects that our wonderful fans can have on the team. So please get behind the players as we fight together to move a step closer to Wembley. Now, there's two questions on this. One, the atmosphere tonight is going to be cooking, as we can imagine. And second of all, do you think ten Hag done that enough? Because there was, I can't remember what I was listening to last night. I think it was Andy Mitten actually speaking really well on Sky Sports. And he was saying there was a point when he asked him a question and we needed some of the fans to be like, I want the fans to be fucking on it today, da-da-da. And he never really did that, did he?
He was lacking, I don't want to say charisma, because I think charisma is a very hard thing to have. I don't think a lot of people have it. I think it's a very finite resource, and you either have it or you don't. I don't think you can
Yeah.
develop that sort of thing. And I don't think he had much of it. But then I think also we were asking for a disciplinarian and somebody who was like strict and harsh, and I think he was. But apparently he went too far with that, and he was quite sort of prickly at times. He was quite close to the chest at times. With journalists and stuff, it's fine because I think a
You're
lot
not
of
there to
journalists.
serve them, really.
I
Are you?
think a lot of journalists are pretty stupid when it comes to questions
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it's just like I don't really care if he's like shitty to them. But yeah, to
Yeah.
fans, I think it would have been nice for him to try and sort of like give explanations for reasonings, or like what was it? Was it Andy Mitten said that he asked him a question like, "What is it you're seeing in training that we're not seeing?"
Yeah,
And he
that was
didn't
it.
give him an answer. And it's just like something like that would the fans would like back you then. Like even if journalists don't, like the fans would back you. The fans would be like, okay, he's seen this, he's seen that, he's seen stuff in training that we're not seeing. Maybe let's give him an opportunity and stuff like that. That I think they'd be a little bit more understanding. But yeah, the answers like that probably not helping. But then he's trying to protect himself from the journalists who are going to twist things and stuff like that. So it's a tricky sort of situation, isn't it? It's a very tricky situation.
Well, there's reports coming in actually now that Ruud van Nistelrooy expects to leave United once Ruben Amorim becomes manager because Amorim wants to bring his own staff.
Yeah.
Do you think he might reflect on it and might just be like, maybe I should have just gone for that? Because obviously, I think Burnley was interested in him. There was a couple of other clubs around Europe. Do you think maybe he sat there now saying I should have just gone for the head position in the first place, or will he appreciate the experience, even if it is short and sweet?
I think because of his connections to the club, his connections to Ferguson, that kind of stuff, I think there is always going to be a bit of sentimentality and sort of romanticism about it, rather than thinking logically about it. Because if you thought logically about it, it's just like, is this manager that I'm coming in to assist going to be there? Like he's under pressure. There's different things and stuff like that. So maybe he was idealistic with it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm sure he'll find another job after this. Like I'm sure he'll get a job, no problem. So I'm not worried about his sort of job prospects or anything like that. I'm worried like he's going to be a coach elsewhere. So yeah, I think maybe he went in a bit idealistic, but if you're not idealistic in football, then you shouldn't really be in the job, should you? If you're not confident that you can do something and you can make something happen, then you shouldn't be bothering. It's much like an MMA fighter. You don't think you can win. What is the point? What is the point in going into the fight if you don't think you can win?
The question is, what happens if he wins 6-0 tonight and it's a convincing performance? Do we get carried away?
I don't think it changes. I think Amorim's coming in. Apparently, the only reason he's not here yet is because of the staff delays behind the scenes. So I think it's just a matter of time. It's not if, it's when.
Well, you just gave me the perfect segue there. So, these are all the recent updates around Amorim and the quotes coming out from his game. That in addition to the €10 million release clause for Ruben Amorim, Sporting want another €5 million from Manchester United for the coaches and staff. That will also move, plus an extra fee, so the move can happen immediately. Now, a lot of people saying this is expensive, Sam, but United have spent a lot worse, haven't they?
Yeah, I think it was always going to cost money if you extend Ten Hag's contract. That's an extra 2 years that you got to pay out, and if you want to go get a top manager who's in a job, you're going to have to pay out money. Like that's the reality of the situation. I think obviously Sporting are going to try and get as much money as possible for it because they want to be compensated, much like Newcastle did with the Dan Ashworth thing, and we ended up getting a decent price. But hopefully we can reach an agreement here and be like, right, yeah, we understand we're taking your manager mid-season, and you want to be compensated, and his backroom staff. So find a negotiation where every party's happy. So while it looks like unlikely now that he'd be in charge for Sunday, hopefully we get it done before. Is it POAK on the Thursday?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully it's done before then. That'd be good.
Yeah, because we are seeing a lot of mixed reports at the moment. And naturally, after the game against Sporting, people were kind of expecting the videos, the goodbyes, and this kind of. We didn't quite get that. And we had a couple of English journalists there last night asking him questions, and he was saying, "I can't control the facts that one club made an offer. What I can control is my decision. When I have that decision, I will tell you and the Sporting fans. I'm not going to talk about my contract. It's a matter between me and Sporting. All the clauses that exist in a contract are included by the employer and the employee. What I can say is that the statement contains all the necessary information. Manchester United is interested, but it's my choice until everything is decided. We won't be making any noise. I have nothing useful to say. I will take on whatever I want to do, as I have always done." He's not a man to mince his words, is he?
No, he's been compared to Jose Mourinho, hasn't he? In terms of like how his things, like he's got a bit of charisma about him. He's got a bit of confidence and self-belief. So yeah, it's great. I can't wait for United to suck it out of him and turn him into a dribbling wreck like everybody else.
Yeah, I was just watching a bit of the overlap with Scholesy and McCullough and that who were on there, and they said the exact same thing. It was kind of just like, yeah, it's all good and well and saying all these things about his system, back five, pressing, etc. But as we've said on this channel before, and as the people in the chat have said before, we've saying the same things about Ten Hag, and Ten Hag came and the club just completely broken him. So would it be a surprise if it happened again?
Probably not.
No,
Probably not.
probably not. Did you see Pep's quote on Amorim, by the way?
I saw something, but I didn't see. I saw the Ten Hag one saying he's welcome at City anytime or something.
Yeah, that was a little
That's
bit
weird.
bizarre. But there was a quote on Amorim, and he said, "All I could talk about is the experience of playing twice against Ruben's Sporting Lisbon team 1 or 2 seasons ago, and the pressure was really, really good. I spoke with Mateus Nunes, and he was his player, and he speaks highly about him. And look, this season he's unbeaten and winning all the games in the Portuguese League and the Champions League, the same points as us. So a high manager, I have the feeling that what I hear, what they are thinking about him, it's because he's a good manager. Man United don't appoint managers who aren't at a level. So the 5, 6, 7 years, we cannot say they are not able to lead Manchester United. It almost worries me a little bit. You know, when Pep praises us or praises a manager,
Yeah.
I always feel like it's a little bit tongue in cheek. Like he doesn't really mean it, but he's just kind of like a little bit lip service. Like, do you know what I mean?
Is what is the phrase? Dabbing with faint praise. That's the
Yeah,
that's the thing. Isn't
yeah.
it? It's like, oh, you've done well, aren't you? You're patting them on the head. And
Yeah,
it's just like a bit
yeah.
patronising and stuff.
There is an element of that, and also I don't know how you feel, but I feel a bit like, I don't know why, a little bit uncomfortable because we have this thing with Man City where, like, so there's I think 3 or 4 players that City have been interested in. We've gone and got him, and it hasn't worked out.
Yeah.
So Maguire, Alexis Sanchez, Fred, and I'm sure there's another one on top of there as well. And then we go and get their CEO or the position below CEO, Omar Brada, and then bring him here. And then we're going for the manager that they was going to get to replace Pep. It just has that, like, we're chasing them. And I know that's the reality of the situation in a minute, but it doesn't sit right with me. I don't know about you.
No, it's understandable. I think there's a lot of connections that you could probably say, oh, we were just chasing 6 things. But then I think you could look at it in isolation and be like, who's the best young coaches in Europe right now? And I think Amorim's among them, if not in the top sort of 2, 3. See, Nagelsmann, Amorim, and then who else would you put in that bracket? Is that young managers? Xabi Alonso? Those are the 3 I'd probably lean at because best young managers, those are the 3 you probably go for if you're looking outside the Premier League. Xabi Alonso, I don't think is a doable deal. I just don't see it happening. He's a former Liverpool player. Obviously wants the Madrid job, and with rumours of Ancelotti possibly going at the end of the season, that could be the next one. And then Xavi is available, but it's like, does he fit into this team, this squad? I don't think he does. And then trying to get Julian Nagelsmann out of Germany is a very, very difficult prospect. As you see with the difficulty we're trying to get Amorim out of this, I think it'd be 10 times worse trying to get it out of the Germany national squad. So I think in isolation, he's probably the thing. I think it just happens to be coincidentally lining up with this whole City thing you've mentioned on top of it. Obviously, City are now briefing that they were never interested in him in the first place, and it was never happening and stuff like that, which is convenient, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure
It's
Liverpool
about a million journalists. Make sure you tell him.
Yeah.
Make sure you tell him.
I'm sure Liverpool fans have claimed they never wanted him either as well when the club was going. So, yeah, it's always interesting when that happens.
Right, let's go to the chat. Elite Baller saying, how are you, Nam? I feel like I've not seen Elite. I know we've been in the past couple of streams, but I feel like Elite Baller, where have you been?
Yeah.
I've not seen you in the chat, unless you've just not been commenting. Dan saying, I read that Amorim is all signed and sealed. They're just working on his backroom staff. That is correct.
Yep.
McMillan saying, Amorim delays due to VAR. He's just been paid 15 mil. I think he can wait for another job. Big up, lads. What did I miss? Pep's quotes, Amorim's quotes after the game, and also Ruud's letter to the fans. So not much came on. All right, lads. I'm actually looking forward tonight. Yeah, Leicester. I mentioned it's match day at the start of the stream, but we do play Leicester tonight. It doesn't feel like that because it's like we're almost clouded by the amount of stuff and news. Like this always happens when a manager goes. For the next 2, 3, 4, 5 days, social media is just like, you can't get away from it, can you? It's filled with so much stuff. I mean, even whilst we've been live in now, I've had about 30 notifications on Twitter from stuff that's coming in. So you just can't escape from it. And then sometimes you actually forget in the midst of those things. that there's a game on. If you guys haven't seen our preview for Leicester, check it out. We dropped it yesterday. Check it out after the show for sure, to get yourself ready for tonight. But of course, we'll have a pre-match build-up and we'll have a post-match analysis as well, as always. So hopefully we'll see you guys there. Did you see Gikaros' free kick, Sam?
Yeah, great player. Really, really good player. He got like the best goal scoring record beside Haaland in Europe.
He's up there. Yeah, he's right up there.
He's ridiculous. And I think we had my friend Lucian when we played Coventry in the FA Cup, and that's where he came from, didn't he? He started at Coventry, and then he was saying that he was for big things. And apparently, Gyökeres turned down the chance to leave in the summer because of Amorim, because Amorim is staying. So potentially he might be looking for a way out now that Amorim's gone. So yeah, really good player, really, really exciting young striker. I like the look of him.
It's weird because I think Xerxes now, I think he's going to struggle to get in this team when Amorim comes in. Obviously, very early doors at the minute. He'll probably brief that, all players have an opportunity. But just judging by style, what kind of style, I think Rasmus will thrive. I think maybe they will bring in like a Gikaros. I think it'd be expensive if they do.
Yeah. What was it, 70 million?
And they said like 8 clubs went in for him, that they were interested in Gikaros. So it's going to be very difficult. But look, we're not even got the manager through the door yet. So I think we need to deal with that first, and then we can talk about transfers and stuff. I'll have to wait until the summer. Do you think it's 50-50 if Amorim takes charge of Chelsea? No, I think now, from what I've seen, what I've read, I think Ruud does Leicester, Chelsea, and then I think Amorim will be in for the game after that. POAK.
Yeah, I've seen Jamie Jackson saying it could be the 1st of December, Everton, before it happens.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? You read the reports, like, does anyone actually know, or they just a lot of people speculating? I don't know. But it's not going to take ages for him to get in. I think that's one clear thing that we all know. But yeah, look, we're bringing a new manager in, but the one manager that we had has only just gone. I mean, he's literally just left the door. So I don't know. I feel like people have been a bit. I know this is the game that we're in, but I feel like people have been a bit disrespectful to Ten Hag. Some of the stuff that I'm seeing online, like embarrassing stuff, to be honest with you. And I'm not even afraid of calling it out. People like Saeed and that Planet Faz are just totally fucking embarrassing. Like, I can't stand stuff like that. They're like, oh, thank God, he's finally gone and all that kind of, like, get a fucking grip, man. What you on about? Like, he still have a bit of respect. He still won an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup. You know what I mean?
No, what I hate is when people are going, I hope we lose so he gets sacked. That's what really annoys me. It's like, you want our team to lose. You want us to lose games just because you want a manager out. It's just like, why? Like, why? Like, I want my house to set on fire so I don't have to live there anymore. Like, what are you talking about? Like, just, you need to sort of look at what you're doing. It's just like, you might not agree with the manager, you might disagree with things that happen, but to make it personal and name calling and just stuff like that, it's just ridiculous, man. Absolutely ridiculous. And I just think people need to sort of take a look at themselves, especially people who just seem to spend 24/7 online and don't actually react to real human beings in real life. Like, have a look at, like, imagine if Ten Hag was like next to him and say, I don't think they'd be reacting that way. They'd be like, definitely this. So it's just, it's people just permanently online and they just don't know about human interaction anymore, and they just lose sight of like respect and emotion and human beings and stuff like that. People who are calling Rashford Trashford and stuff, and you just like, why are you name calling? Like, what is the need for it? Disagree with his performances, criticize his thing, but don't need to name call and disrespect people. Ridiculous.
And then everyone's instant kind of counter to that is, oh, well, he got paid a load of money. He got paid 15 million. You go like, yeah, I'm sure he sat there in a pile of cash now doing fucking snow angels with a big smile on his face. No, he's not. Obviously, he's devastated, and he wanted it to work out at United. And I think the majority of fans want it to work out. If it doesn't happen and he goes, you're like, right, okay, we understand the decision, we move on, and let's see how Amorim does. But I just thought, I don't know, I feel like it's been a bit disrespectful in the fan base, just for me personally. Ugarte being dropped after the goal-saving block must have really pissed off Ineos. What do you think? Also, Managerial at number 10 fast. Yeah, I don't know. It was almost like you go a little bit crazy towards the end, don't you? I think Ollie tried like a back five before he kind of went. I don't know. People act sometimes out of desperation. They'll just go with players that they know and they can trust. I think we did see an element of that with Eric. But look, we've got some news. Some bits coming out about Eric Ten Hag about certain situations over the summer, certain players that he wanted, and a name that's been mentioned, Sam, is Danny Welbeck. Ten Hag apparently felt that he would be an excellent addition to his striking option. People at the club gave serious thought to making the 33-year-old an offer, but nothing materialised. It would have cost nothing. That's interesting, isn't it?
Legend.
Big Welsh.
He should have been sacked just for the fact that he didn't get that over the line. Like,
Yeah.
why are we not signing a 33-year-old Danny Welbeck immediately? Like,
but experience, and you look what he's doing with Brighton at the moment. It's not the worst decision in the world, is it?
I do tongue in cheek. Like, I love Danny Welbeck. I do. Like, he was the underdog at United for so long because he was playing with like so many top players and never quite got his opportunity, and then went to Arsenal. Didn't really work out. Watford was he at as well, I think. And now, at Brighton, he's smashing it. Like, he seems to have gotten over that injury thing and seems to be absolutely like bagging goals. So yeah, I'm so happy for him and that he's doing well. And I think you could do a lot worse. But as we know, any players who come over 30, over 32, 33 to United just seem to be injury prone. Cavani, Igalo, Ronaldo, like, just seems to come in and just have injury consistent issues. I mean, we've got 20-year-olds who can't fucking stay fit in Luke Shaw and Terrell Malacia. So I think we probably would have ruined him. I think Brighton is a perfect club for him. I think it's a really good club. I think he works so well in that system under Hertzler. Being dropped for a couple of games here and there and then coming in at certain points. I think it works really, really well for him. I just don't think he'd be great at United. I love him. Absolute legend. Scored a goal at the Bernabeu for United against Real Madrid. Not many strikers can say that. So, yeah, always will love Danny Welbeck. We'll always clap him when he comes back. But just, he's not... I don't think he'd be the option I would go for personally.
But look, everyone's going on about like your Durans, Havertz, and Watkins. He scored more goals than all of them. He's in the top 5 goal scorers of the Premier League this season so far. He's got a better goals per 90 rate than Mohamed Salah. He's got the same goal conversion as Cole Palmer. Like, he's putting the numbers up there.
I guarantee he comes to United though, it drops off.
Oh yeah, of course it would. That's just United, isn't it? It's just the nature of the beast. But yeah, I've always had this kind of fond eye for Danny Welbeck and respect. I've never disliked him or insulted him as a player. I think he's good. But yeah, we also had bits coming in about Alvaro Fernandez, Sam, which I think you'll find interesting. It was Eric Ten Hag's decision to sell him. Anything about that?
That's frustrating.
We've got Amorim coming in now as well with the wing backs.
That's frustrating. It's really frustrating because me and Chivy were very high on Alvaro Fernandez. Like, we were quite high on him. I thought he was a very talented wing back. And I thought, especially after that sort of injury crisis we had at full back where Luke Shaw was out consistently, Malacia was out for the entire thing, still hasn't returned, either one of them. And then set Reguilon back on loan off because they were told he was going to come back. And then they didn't. We were left without a left back, and then now is this year's refusal to play Harry Amas as well. And you look at Alvaro Fernandez playing in Benfica, and he's absolutely tearing it up, and he's fantastic, playing extremely well there. Don't understand why we let him go. Really, really don't understand why we let him go because it could have solved our left back issue, and without spending any money. Like, I really don't get it.
I think there is a buyback clause, isn't there?
Yes.
From what is it 16 million or something?
Something around there, yeah.
And obviously, Ruben Amorim will know a lot about him because he plays in the Portuguese league. He plays for Benfica. So I'm sure he'll know about him. Maybe that's a deal that they might do. I'm not sure. Right, back to the comments before we talk about Manuel Ugarte then. Ugarte being dropped after the goal. So I read that out. Eric will bounce back. Daniel CA says, in terms of making runs off defenders, Rashford is the best at the club. He doesn't have the profile to play a 10. I think, look, it's up in the air for quite a few of the players at the club with Amorim's system. We'll just have to see how it plays out. But I've got an idea of who will probably be successful in the system and who might struggle. But I'll save that for the video. Joseph O'Hanlon says Weghorst as well. Big Vega, do you remember him? Jesus.
I like Weghorst. I really did. He was not good enough for United, but I did like him a lot.
But if you look at what he did, like, he was almost a selfless role, wasn't it? Because even in the Carabao Cup final, the assist for Rashford, the runs he would make off the ball to leave space for others.
Hard worker, man. Which is something...
I think he... Go on.
I might say, okay. He's a hard worker, and I think there's a lot of players in the team who don't put the graft in. I think there's a lot of players who just, like, when things are going bad, they just go give up and throw their hands up, whereas I think he never did that. So I admire that. I like that in a player.
Yeah, I reckon he personally takes, like, credit for Rashford's 30-goal season secretly.
Probably,
I reckon he's like sat with his mates having a pint at some Dutch pub, and he's like, "Yeah, he had a great season. Yeah, he had a great season, but if I weren't in that team, that wouldn't have happened, mate." So, yeah, I remember him playing, like he said, at 10 at the new camp, and just like, this is what on earth are we doing here? Play Weghorst as a number 10 at the new camp against Barcelona.
I remember I was at the Betis game at Old Trafford when he scored his goal. And he was crying, and I was just like, I felt it, man. I felt there was a little bit in my chest where I was like, yes.
I did feel like he was a little bit over, like he overdid it at times sometimes, you know what I mean? But fair play to him. You know, he was living the dream, so you can't blame him. Amorim will know all about Fernandes if he fancies him the options there. The first thing Amorim did at Sporting was remove the shit trainers and high earners, and if you're good enough, you're old enough, Sporting fans video. Very interesting. Yeah, look, we've got plenty of time to discuss Amorim and dive deep into that. Plenty of time. In terms of over the next couple of weeks, we'll be doing our due diligence and research. Already have done quite a bit, but yeah, I'm interested to see. Do a bit more deep diving on that. On Ugarte, Sam, reviewed by United as a good signing, but Erik ten Hag wanted a reunion with Sofyan Amrabat, and he had to be persuaded through video footage. This has been back and forth for a while about Ugarte. There's always been that feeling that Ten Hag didn't like him. And obviously with this news coming out, he wanted to sign Amrabat. Would that have been the right decision?
He wanted to keep Scott McTominay as well, didn't he? Erik ten Hag. Obviously, McTominay's smashing it in Napoli, so like fair play to him. I liked Amrabat. I thought those last 4 games, he was excellent. And then in the FA Cup final especially, I thought he was key to the reason we won it. So on a cheap, as squad depth, I wouldn't have minded it. I think it wouldn't have been a thing. I still think we would have needed another top-class number 6 alongside them. But I wouldn't have minded the signing. Obviously, hindsight being 2020, did they have an eye on Amrabat coming in? And that's why they got Ugarte? Because he spoke to him in the summer, and it's like, if Ten Hag doesn't work out, we'll bring in this player, and if we can get Amorim, he's already worked with him. Maybe there's something going on there. Maybe they were looking at that. The transfer strategy was weird, wasn't it? There was a couple of players where it's like, that's clearly an in-your signing, and then the other ones were like clearly Ten Hag signings. So, yeah, obviously Ugarte and Yoro, I think, were in-your signings. So that'd be interesting to see how they're integrated under Ruben Amorim, and then where does that leave the likes of De Ligt, Joshua Zirkzee, like you said, like where does that leave them under Ruben Amorim when he comes in? So yeah, it's an interesting sort of thing that obviously he had a lot of power in his contract, then he had vetoes and things like that, and obviously had to be convinced of stuff. So yeah, it's a strange thing, man.
What I don't get is though, like the finer details of when Ineos came in, there was a load of reports that they want to kind of decide the style and the play and all this kind of stuff. And Will Cox has been brought in to kind of implement that or be at least a big part of it. But managers nowadays, like big managers, your Peps, Klopps, any of these guys, they won't accept that. No. Like they won't go into a club and they won't be like, yeah, so you tell me how to play, you tell me what system. That isn't going to work. So I don't get how you get the finer balance of that. Do you know what I mean?
I think you have to work with the coach and just be like, I think you have to have an idea of like how you want to play, and maybe not specifics of like formations or press triggers or any of that sort of stuff, but maybe an idea of like, we want to play attacking, fast-paced football, and then you can adapt the little things to that and bring in the manager who's got elements of that, but then he could put his own spin on it and sort of thing. Because you see with Brighton, like Fabian Herzl is a very different manager to De Zerbi, but Brighton play very similarly under both systems. Like I said, the principles are the same. Arne Slot is different from Jurgen Klopp, but the principles are still quite the same, and it still works relatively similar. So I think that's the way to do it. Maybe Sir Jim Radcliffe misspoke because it was early on in the process and the ownership and stuff. I can't imagine Amorim's agreed to come in if he's going to be dictated to how they play. I can't imagine he's going to accept that.
But if you think about all the top coaches who have won, they're extremely demanding. They have a very strict mindset. Like, can you imagine Pep going somewhere and they're going, yeah, Pep, basically what it is we want you to be a transitional team. And he's going,
No.
I've won at Barcelona. Constructed arguably the greatest team ever. I won a treble with City. I've done all this, and you're telling me, Jason Wilcox is telling me you have to play this way. So I don't know. What I'm saying is, I suppose, is I'd love to be a fly on the wall to see these kind of conversations
we all would.
and how they go down.
We all would. We'd all love to see what was going on. But I imagine he's not even going to entertain this offer if he doesn't have some sort of control over how we're going to play and the tactical setup. I can't imagine he's going to do that because he seems like a quite head-on straight guy, and it seems like he knows what he wants. So I can't imagine it's got to this point without a discussion about that.
UTFR saying, do you get the feeling Wilcox did not like Ten Hag?
That's the Athletic said, didn't they? They didn't get on. They didn't get on at all. So apparently it is true.
Surely that's been discussed, and Ineos and Amorim are signing for the same hymn sheet. Oh, singing, not signing. Well, you could use that both ways, and it's they're not signing because they didn't want to sign Ugarte. Yeah, I always had that feeling. Like this is what I'm saying with head coaches. They're very, kind of fixated on what they want.
Yeah.
And I always felt that's why there was a bit of friction between Ten Hag and Ineos, because Ten Hag wants certain players, he wants a certain style, he believes in the philosophy, even though it's, he's stubborn in it, basically. He just will not move on certain ideas, and probably Ineos were like, well, let's just try. Let's just try work with him, try back him.
Before Ineos came in, he had all the power, all the control, all the influence. And then when Ineos came in, they wanted to take that away, bring in Dan Ashworth, Barada, Wilcox. So there's probably friction there. It's like, I had all this power and all this control, and now it's being taken away from me. And he probably felt a bit frustrated with that and a bit angry at that because he previously had all this influence.
Do you think he gets a top job next in football?
Well, define top job.
So, I don't know. Let's say, obviously, Motta's there at the moment, but like a Juventus or a club like that, or do you think it'd be a level down?
I'd probably say a step down. I don't see like a Juve or a Barca or a Real Madrid or a.
So more like a Dortmund, maybe something like that.
Dortmund would be an option if that. What's the guy in?
Terzic,
Terzic. Like he's gone now, hasn't he? Who's no?
Yeah.
So
Sahin. No, Sahin.
Yeah, he's in there, isn't he? So I don't see that sort of ending that quickly.
Yeah.
But like a sort of just below the top tier sort of job. So not a Bayern, not a Juventus, not a Inter, not a Barca, Real, United, that kind of stuff. I think something below that. I think think like Stuttgart, Leipzig, Lyon, Marseille, that kind of level.
Yeah.
I think that's probably where he lands around about there.
How do you think he reflects on his time? Because obviously, wherever he is in this world, I think he flew back to the Netherlands, obviously spending some time with family and friends. How do you think he'll reflect on his time, genuinely, at United?
He'll probably say what he said all along. I won 2 trophies. I was most successful manager, like, by Jose, I think, in terms of like things won. He would probably say he was hamstrung by the Glazers at the beginning and had to take on a lot of responsibility, which affected that. And then when the new ownership came in, he was affected by that. And then he'd probably use the very valid excuses of Ronaldo incident, Mason Greenwood incident, Anthony incident, all that different stuff that kicked off and stuff. So he's probably had a really tough time and going of it. And had he been given time, that he would have got it right eventually. That's probably what he would say. So I imagine he's very confident in his own ability and his and what he did, and that it wasn't necessarily all his fault. I imagine he's not going to take most of the responsibility and he'll blame other factors. And I'm sure if you spoke to the higher ups at United, they mostly blame him. So somewhere in between is the truth, isn't it? Really.
Jay McGoggins just said Spurs. Imagine. Yeah. Oh my! It's difficult because I think fans now.
Did he interview for Spurs?
Don't know.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he interviewed and he said these lack of charisma. They weren't. That's what they didn't think. So.
Well, they've got lack of trophies and he's just won 2 at United. So, you can't have the best of both worlds, I suppose. But Postecoglou's got all the charisma in the world, but he's got no fucking trophy so far at Tottenham. So, and just lost to Crystal Palace. I mean, they're not having the best season either. So, I don't know. It's a strange one. I'd love the one thing that'd be absolute gold at the moment. I just would love to interview Ten Hag, an open, honest interview right now about his time at United.
Not going to happen.
It'd
be under an NDA for a couple of years, I imagine, because
yeah,
Ollie didn't speak for a while, did he? Jose didn't speak for a while. And then a couple of years later, things came out, didn't they? Like the television interviews and stuff like that. So I imagine maybe in a year or two, the NDA will be gone, and then you'll probably hear from him about his time at United. Because Louis van Gaal's popped off about United quite a lot, hasn't he? In this
Oh yeah, fucking hell, you can't get enough of it now, him.
Yeah,
Jesus
so
Christ.
I think you will hear in a couple of years. You'll probably hear all about it. But I imagine he's under some sort of NDA for a bit.
You get like yearly quotes from like the Dutch media about United, don't you? And Van
Yeah.
Gaal and all these. They always pipe up. I saw a quote from Dortmund fans saying they thought Terzic was terrible. Yeah, I saw that, and the football was crap. They couldn't wait to get rid of him. Can't imagine Ten Hag ball will go down there too well. Apparently Spurs turned down Ten Hag due to lack of charisma and language barriers. Yeah. Ten Hag will pipe up in 12 months when his contract is paid up. Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for it because I want to hear his side. I think a lot of it is being briefed from the club and these journalists that are speculating.
Player leaks as well.
The player leaks. But I do want to hear his side, and I want to hear certain things. I think that'd be good. But,
Eric, if you're watching in the Netherlands, open format, Real Reds Talk, come on.
Come up, come and have a chat, Eric. Come and have a chat.
We'll do it.
I would fucking love that. Never ever going to happen, but one can dream, I suppose. Right, we shall leave it at that. Like I said, guys, we'll leave a link in the chat for you if no one's missed, if anyone's missed the Leicester preview that we did. Obviously we play them tonight, so check that out. Get yourself ready for the game, and then at around, I don't know, it's kick-off 7:45.
Not 8 o'clock. Is it 8 o'clock?
Yeah, well, it's around 8 o'clock roughly. So we'll be live.
You're right. 7:45. You are right.
Yeah, so we'll be live 6:45 with all the pre-match coverage. And then we'll have our post-match analysis as always. And yeah, hopefully we're discussing a different kind of performance. It's not Amorim right now, but it'll be a fresh perspective for it, Sam.
Yeah, it'd be nice to talk about something else, wouldn't it? Rather than just, oh god, I know what Ten Hag's going to do, and it's going to be the same shit. So it'd be nice to talk about something else, tactical flexibility, something different. Yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah, and we have a feeling that the atmosphere is going to be cooking tonight. So yeah, let's have a good performance. Let's have some positivity. Let's get a win. And yeah, who knows, the next 2 weeks is going to be very, very busy on this channel. So who knows, we might end up getting Eric on. Imagine that exclusive. Please do.
If we ever did that, I don't know how I would keep a lid on that. I really don't know how I would keep a lid on it.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to tell everybody. I wanted to tell everybody.
We'd be like, it's be difficult, wouldn't it? But yeah, appreciate you all in the chat. Always interacting in the comments. Leave a like on the video just before you head off if you can. Check that preview out that we just put in the chat, and we'll see you tonight, hopefully.
All the socials, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff for the latest news, videos, all that good stuff. Go follow that.
Yeah, man. Take it easy, fellas and ladies.